Have you ever noticed a younger woman smile at an older man and wondered, what's behind that smile? Is it just politeness, or is there something deeper at play? Most men brush it off as a harmless gesture, but what if I told you that smile is packed with meaning? And not just any meaning, but a message most older men completely overlook. In today's world, older men often feel invisible, pushed aside by a society obsessed with youth. Yet, the truth is, their value hasn't faded, it has only deepened. In this video, we're going to uncover why younger women are instinctively drawn to older men, not for superficial reasons like wealth or power, but for something much more powerful: strength, wisdom, and stability. You'll learn why this connection isn't about romantic attraction but a deeper, more meaningful recognition of experience, resilience, and emotional depth. Stick around to the end, and you'll discover how older men can reclaim their confidence and value in a world that's often overlooked them. We'll explore how strength, wisdom, and emotional control are traits that become more attractive with age, and why the world still needs men who embody these qualities. This video will not only change how you see yourself, but will help you understand the profound impact you still have, no matter your age. So let's dive in and find out how that simple smile carries so much more than you ever imagined. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. If you like the topic of this video, please comment 1. If you don't, please comment 0 to let me know how I can improve and make better videos for you. Now, let's begin. A young woman's smile at an older man is far more than a mere gesture of attraction. It's not just about wealth, status, or even power. No, it's about something deeper, something that resonates with the very essence of human connection. A silent acknowledgement of stability, experience, and the grounded presence that only time and life's trials can bestow. When an older man receives a smile from a younger woman, his first reaction might be to brush it off, perhaps dismissing it as a courteous, meaningless gesture or a simple social formality. However, this smile is rarely as superficial as it may seem. It often carries a deeper, profound meaning, one that most men fail to fully comprehend. It's subtle yet undeniably powerful, like a whisper in the soul, a recognition of something ingrained in the very fabric of humanity. Women, especially younger ones, are instinctively tuned into certain qualities that represent stability and strength. It's as if their very being is wired, whether they realize it or not, to notice not just the physical strength of a man but his emotional, intellectual, and psychological fortitude. When they cross paths with an older man who exudes quiet confidence, a sense of calmness, and self-possession, it awakens something within them. It triggers an automatic response, one that often manifests as a smile. It's a smile that speaks volumes, saying, "I see something invaluable here. I acknowledge the strength that you carry." This recognition, this smile, isn't always rooted in romantic attraction, though it can be. More often, it is a simple yet deeply profound acknowledgement of the man who has weathered the storms of life, who has faced adversity, and who stands unshaken in the face of time's challenges. It is a recognition of a person who has lived and learned, and whose presence offers a sense of calm reassurance in a world often filled with noise and uncertainty. In today's society, where so many individuals, young and old alike, are lost in their doubts and insecurities, a man who carries himself with dignity and quiet confidence is rare. For younger women still navigating the winding paths of their own lives, this rare presence is felt instinctively. They can sense when someone has walked the hard, winding road before them and emerged stronger, wiser, and more grounded. This subtle smile is their way of silently acknowledging that strength, that emotional resilience, and that wisdom. At its core, the smile reflects something ancient, something that has existed throughout the history of humankind. Wisdom, experience, and resilience have always been qualities that commanded respect. In earlier societies, elders were not only respected, but they were revered for their knowledge, their guidance, and their unwavering presence during times of uncertainty. Even in modern times, Despite the cultural shifts that often downplay the significance of older generations, this innate instinct of respect remains. When a younger woman smiles at an older man, she might not fully understand why she does it. It's more than just a polite gesture. It's an unconscious acknowledgement of something deeply reassuring, something in her soul recognized as solid, trustworthy, and admirable. Unfortunately, many older men fail to notice this acknowledgement. Society has conditioned them to believe that age makes them invisible, that with time, their worth has faded, and that their value is no longer relevant. But this couldn't be further from the truth. Human nature does not operate that way. Strength, resilience, and wisdom never go unnoticed. That smile, that simple expression, is not hollow. It's a reminder, an affirmation, that stability, self-mastery, and experience are not only valued but needed in today's world. For the older man who is open to this truth, it serves as a quiet, profound validation that he still has something meaningful to offer. A presence, a voice, a sense of calm that so many desperately need. Modern society, with its overwhelming focus on youth, has done everything in its power to convince older men that they no longer matter. The rise of a youth-centric culture, the constant barrage of technological innovations, and shifting social dynamics have all led to the belief that once a man reaches a certain age, his usefulness wanes. He is subtly, and sometimes not so subtly, told that his time is up, that his wisdom is outdated, and that he should step aside for the younger generation to take the lead. This narrative is perpetuated by media, workplace cultures, and even within social circles, leaving many older men feeling invisible, disregarded, and unappreciated. But this story is not grounded in truth. It is a creation of a society that prioritizes novelty and the new over the invaluable substance and depth that experience brings. And it's a lie that needs to be shattered. Because, in truth, the wisdom that comes with age is more valuable than any passing trend, more powerful than any fleeting novelty. The smile from a younger woman is just a small but meaningful reminder of that. The truth is, age does not strip a man of his worth. On the contrary, it enhances it, if he has spent his years cultivating wisdom, embracing discipline, and building emotional resilience. These are qualities that cannot be fabricated or quickly learned. They are earned through lived experience, and they remain as vital today as they have always been. Yet, far too many men fall victim to the misguided belief that with age comes irrelevance, and they retreat into passivity, leaving behind the very attributes that once made them formidable and respected. It is heartbreaking to witness, for they lose not only the vigor of youth but, tragically, the wisdom that age has offered them. Younger women, even in a world that often undermines traditional masculinity, still have an innate understanding of what truly makes a man valuable. Their attraction isn't merely to physical strength, though that too has its place. They seek a deeper, more profound kind of strength, the strength forged in the fire of life's hardships, the strength that comes from overcoming challenges, from learning, growing, and mastering one's emotions. It's the strength of a man who has weathered storms, who has been tested and proven, who possesses not just knowledge but wisdom that comes with age and experience. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. A man who has honed himself over the years, who has faced both success and failure with grace, and who earned from every step is a man who cannot help but stand out. His value, though sometimes overlooked by a culture that is obsessed with youth and novelty, is undeniable. The real tragedy is when older men, influenced by societal pressures and false narratives, start to believe that they have no place anymore. When they begin to view themselves through the distorted lens of modern expectations that prioritize appearance over substance, they lose their confidence, their sense of purpose, and, ultimately, their presence in the world. They begin to fade into the background, convinced that they are no longer needed. But this is not how things should be. This is not the natural flow of life. This is the consequence of a culture that has lost sight of what truly matters: experience, leadership, and the quiet strength that comes from having lived a full life. The truth is that older men still have an indispensable role to play. The world desperately needs them, even if it won't always admit it. And when a younger woman looks at an older man with admiration, when she smiles, perhaps just for a moment, it's often because, deep down, she sees something of immeasurable worth. She sees someone who has lived, someone who understands, someone who, despite the world's noise, remains steadfast. Women, especially younger women, are drawn to a man who embodies stability, wisdom, and strength. This isn't a passing trend or a modern invention. It is a deeply rooted aspect of human nature. For thousands of years, this instinct has been woven into the fabric of human relationships. While society may alter its values and narratives, the core instincts of survival and connection remain unchanged. In a world that often feels unpredictable and volatile, women, perhaps without even fully understanding it, are instinctively searching for something solid, something enduring. They seek a man who has weathered life's storms and has grown into someone capable of offering emotional security, guidance, and protection. And this desire is not about superficial markers like wealth or social status. Those things may come and go, but what truly matters is the deeper security a man can offer. It's the peace of mind that comes from knowing that a man is grounded in his emotions, stable in his thoughts, and unshaken by the turbulence of life. In the face of uncertainty, women find themselves naturally gravitating toward men who possess this rare quality. A man who is not ruled by his emotions, who remains calm and composed, who does not crumble under pressure but rather rises to the occasion. That is the kind of man who commands respect and admiration. There is a profound difference between a man who has truly shaped himself and one who is still floundering, searching for purpose and meaning. The younger man may possess energy, ambition, and drive, but the older man, if he has cultivated himself with intention and care, has something infinitely more valuable: wisdom. The wisdom that has been tempered by time, earned through struggles, and passed down from years of living with intention. This wisdom is not something that can be replicated in an instant. It is an asset that only time can provide, and it offers stability. A stability that is one of the most attractive and sought-after qualities a man can possess. This stability isn't just about financial security, though that can certainly be a part of it. It is the emotional and psychological steadiness that comes with having weathered many of life's storms and come out the other side not unscathed but stronger. It is the kind of stability that cannot be faked or imitated. A man who stands firm in his convictions, who handles pressure with grace, who walks through life with a sense of purpose. This is the kind of man who becomes a rock for others to lean on, including younger women. And it's not just about being physically strong or outwardly successful. It's about the quiet strength that comes from knowing who you are, what you stand for, and where you're going. True masculinity, rooted in wisdom, strength, and responsibility, is becoming an increasingly rare commodity in today's world. Many younger men are struggling to define themselves, to find their direction, and to stay grounded amidst the noise and distractions of modern life. But for older men who have made an effort to cultivate their strength, their wisdom, and their emotional resilience, the value they offer is immeasurable. The world may not always recognize it, but those who are wise enough to see it will. And there will always be someone, often a younger woman, who recognizes the true value of a man who has lived, learned, and become something more than just a product of his time. There's something profoundly distinct about an older man who has weathered life's most unforgiving storms. He is not merely a man who has aged. He is a man who has grown. He has learned the invaluable art of emotional control and self-discipline, cultivating these qualities through a lifetime of trials, failures, and victories. He becomes a symbol of solidity, a pillar of reliability in a world that feels increasingly unstable and uncertain. In today's ever-changing society, where everything seems fleeting and unpredictable, the presence of such a man stands out like a beacon of strength and stability. And when a younger woman smiles at him, it's not just a polite gesture, it's an instinctive, almost unconscious recognition of these very qualities. But it's important to understand that this isn't necessarily about attraction in a romantic sense. It's not about the flutter of infatuation or the spark of love. It's a deeper, more primal acknowledgement of a presence that exudes assurance. It's a recognition of a man who has not just survived, but has thrived in the face of life's complexities. Women, especially younger women, are drawn to this type of energy because it represents something so rare and valuable today. It's the kind of energy that radiates safety, wisdom, and quiet power, qualities that can't be faked, no matter how hard one tries. And yet, tragically, many older men fail to see this in themselves. They are unaware of the strength they've cultivated over the years, unaware of the deep respect that their resilience commands, even when society often fails to openly acknowledge it. It is heartbreaking to think of older men who, despite the richness of their life experiences, don't realize that what they carry inside them is still deeply valuable. There's a tragic misbelief that with age comes a loss of relevance, but nothing could be further from the truth. One of the gravest mistakes an older man can make is surrendering to bitterness. Life does not go without its share of disappointments, failures, and heartaches. This is undeniable. But the key question is, how does a man respond to these setbacks? Does he let them define him, sinking into resignation and self-pity, believing his best days are behind him? Or does he rise above, using his struggles as stepping stones for growth, resilience, and wisdom? The way he chooses to respond will shape the kind of man he becomes, and ultimately, the kind of presence he carries into the world. It's impossible to ignore the stark difference between a man who has been broken by life and one who has refused to let life break him. The latter radiates a quiet confidence that draws people in. Women, particularly younger women, can sense this difference almost instantly. There is something so unappealing about a man who has given up on life, a man who wears his defeats like a shroud, who no longer believes he has a place in this world. His shoulders bear the weight of his regrets, and it becomes a visible burden that no one can ignore. He may once have been ambitious, driven, and full of purpose, but now he is merely a shadow of that man, emotionally worn out and disconnected from life. And it's not his age that renders him invisible. It's the energy he exudes. His defeatist mindset becomes palpable, and the world picks up on that. The truth is simple. The way a man perceives his worth directly influences how the world sees him. If he sees himself as a relic, as someone whose relevance has expired, others will see him that way, too. But if he refuses to allow the trials of life to define him, if he chooses to keep moving forward, learning, and growing, he becomes someone entirely different. Someone with an undeniable strength that can't be ignored. He may have scars, both visible and invisible, but those scars are not marks of weakness. They are the badges of a warrior, proof that he has fought and endured, that he has refused to succumb to the harshness of life. He has faced loss, but he has not let it steal his spirit. He has experienced failure, but it has not broken his resolve. Instead, it has forged him into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable of meeting whatever challenges lie ahead. There is something undeniably magnetic about a man who remains engaged with life and who continues to contribute and evolve. It's not about pretending to be young or chasing a long-lost youth. It's about maintaining a spirit that refuses to be extinguished, no matter the passage of time. Sadly, far too many older men surrender too soon, believing the lie that their time has passed and that they have nothing left to offer. And this is the real tragedy. The most powerful thing an older man can do as he ages is not to fade into the background, but to remain active in his journey. To keep building himself, to keep learning, to keep showing up for life, no matter the age on his birth certificate. Strength, resilience, and wisdom do not diminish with age, they amplify. And while the world may sometimes forget to acknowledge this, those who are wise enough to see will recognize it. When a younger woman smiles at an older man, it is never a random act. That smile is an acknowledgement of his presence, his vitality, his strength. It's the kind of smile that comes from a deep, almost instinctual understanding of the power he carries within him. It's a reflection of something that resonates on a level beyond words, something lasting, something meaningful, something real. And this, in the end, is what makes him invaluable. Many older men, unfortunately, fail to truly understand the profound nature of the attention they receive. Often, they brush it off as mere politeness or assume that it is insignificant, unaware of the deep, underlying truth about human nature. The truth is, women, whether they consciously recognize it or not, are deeply drawn to men who radiate strength and certainty. And I'm not just talking about physical strength, which, yes, is important, but a deeper, more internal strength that resonates in the very way a man moves through the world. An older man who has lived with intention, who has weathered the storms of life and emerged wiser, stronger, and more resilient, exudes a different kind of energy. It's not the flashy energy that shouts for attention, but a quiet, powerful force that simply is. He doesn't need to prove himself because his life and experiences have already done the talking. There's something magnetic about that kind of man. Younger women notice him, even if they don't fully understand why. It's as if they can feel the difference between him and their peers, those who are still searching for themselves, struggling with their identities, unsure of who they are and what they want. That smile, a simple, often fleeting gesture, isn't necessarily about romantic attraction, though it certainly can be. More often than not, it's an instinctive acknowledgement. It's a sign of respect, admiration, or even curiosity. It's that quiet recognition that this man is different. He is steady in a world that feels chaotic and uncertain. He carries something real, something grounded. And in a world full of fleeting trends and shallow pursuits, that is incredibly rare. The man who has cultivated his strength, his wisdom, and his character doesn't go unnoticed, even when he might feel like he's fading into the background. But here's where the problem lies. Many older men fail to see themselves through the eyes of others. If a man has internalized the belief that his value has diminished, that he is no longer relevant or needed, then he will miss these subtle signals entirely. He might walk through life thinking he's invisible when, in fact, he's still commanding attention, respect, and even admiration. It breaks my heart to see men retreat into the shadows, believing they no longer matter when the reality couldn't be more different. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 2 below to let me know that you are still here with me. The key here is confidence. A man who truly knows his worth, who has internalized the value of his own life experience, doesn't second-guess the interactions he has with others. He doesn't shrink away from the quiet admiration that comes his way, nor does he dismiss it as meaningless. Instead, he understands that he possesses something invaluable, something that the world still sees and acknowledges, even if it's not always loudly or overtly expressed. That smile. It's not a coincidence. It's a reminder. A reminder that strength, wisdom, and integrity don't fade with time. They only become more refined. And I hope that these men will see themselves for what they truly are and stand tall in the power they've earned through the years. The question, though, is whether these men will recognize their worth and carry themselves accordingly. So many older men underestimate the crucial role they still play in the world. Society has conditioned them to believe that once they reach a certain age, they should step aside, that their time has passed, and that they are no longer needed. That belief is not only false, it is devastating. It's a narrative that takes away from the true value of aging and undermines the wisdom and experience that come with it. Experience, resilience, and wisdom don't diminish with age. They only deepen. A man who has lived through struggles, who has faced heartache and loss, who has battled the storms of life and emerged stronger carries something precious. He possesses knowledge that can't be taught in a classroom or learned from a textbook. It is a knowledge earned through blood, sweat, and tears, a knowledge that no young man can replicate in an instant. And that knowledge, the world still needs it. Sadly, many of these men don't see their significance. They've absorbed the toxic message that they are outdated, irrelevant, and invisible. But that's an illusion, a dangerous lie that erodes their sense of purpose and power. The stability, wisdom, and leadership that come with age are just as vital today as they were in any other era. And the truth is, the world is crying out for men who embody these qualities. It's not about age, It's about the man himself and how he chooses to carry his wisdom and strength. The difference, then, is whether a man chooses to embrace and embody these qualities. Whether he chooses to stand tall, be visible, and continue to contribute in meaningful ways. Even in a society that sometimes looks down on traditional masculinity, there is an undeniable respect for strength when it's genuine and rooted in experience. Younger women may not always understand it on a conscious level, but they instinctively recognize strength when they see it. They can feel the difference between a man who is lost and still searching and one who has already found his place in the world. A man who walks through life with quiet authority, who has a sense of direction, and who doesn't waver in the face of adversity will always stand out. Age may change his body, but it doesn't change the depth of his character. The reason some older men feel invisible is not because they've aged, but because they've stopped carrying themselves with the self-assurance and purpose they once had. Age, in itself, is not what makes a man lose his influence. It's how he responds to the passing of time, and whether he chooses to embrace it or retreat into the shadows. As we wrap up, I want to ask you, what have you learned from this discussion today? How do you view the power of wisdom, strength, and confidence that comes with age? I encourage you to reflect on one key insight you've gained from this video and think about how you can bring it into your own life moving forward. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. What is one thing you've learned today that will make a difference for you or someone you know? I'd love to hear your reflections. If you like this video, don't forget to leave your comment, like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Your support means the world to us. Thank you for watching, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.